Hello, welcome to another episode of Industrial Amputation where you can always expect the unexpected. Once in a great while, you hear a band name and your interest is instantly piqued. Then you have the opportunity to see them live and they push every damn button of hope and meet and even surpass every damn expectation. Dead Animal Assembly Plant is such a band. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome the head butcher himself, Mr. Zach Wagger.
Oh
Is
my
Wag
God. Well, technically Wager, but you know
Wager?
what?
Okay.
But that's way closer than most people
I was
pronounce
gonna
it.
say
So
Bogger.
you see, I mean that if I wanted to sound like pretentious, I could try to be like, oh no, it's the German
The
pronunciation.
German pronunciation, yes.
But thank you for that intro. That's very flattering. Thank you so much.
Dude,
Thank you.
I mean it from the very bottom of my fucking heart. I absolutely do. So thank you so much for being here today, man. It's good
Yeah,
to see
thanks
you.
for having me. I'm
Yeah.
happy that it worked out.
Yeah, me too. It's taken a while to get you on, but we finally did it. So
Yay.
fucking right on. So 2013 or so, Seattle, now defunct Highline, Halloween. The first time I saw you guys, the energy very much like an early Skinny Puppy show. And I told you guys that, and you were kind of like, "What the fuck? Who is this guy?" And I'm like, "Well, I've been on stage with Skinny Puppy, and I've done photography for him. I've been watching him since like 1985, and yeah, and they were like, "Oh shit, okay, yeah, all right." And so someone that's actually been there, and I'm like, "Yeah, it was absolutely electrifying. It was fucking amazing." And yeah, and Vex was still with you guys back at that time, and
Yeah,
Particle
it's
Sun. But yeah, it just tore it up. Amazing, amazing fucking stuff. So a decade later, we're in Portland at the final show or the final tour for that very band, Skinny Puppy, and ended up solidifying our friendship with many libations and stomping and screaming and having a fucking hell of a time. Me and you and Aaron Christopher and Elysian and Rebecca. It was a fucking wild time. Um, my friend, it is so good to see you. How have you been?
it's interesting that you bring up something like so long ago because just thinking about everything that has happened just as a band, as a person, as a society from
Mm-hmm.
2013 to
Yeah,
now almost 2025, it's it almost gives me like whiplash when I think about it. Like everything feels so different. Even as a band,
yeah,
it feels so different because even thinking about us back then and the complete lineup change and still trying to kind of understand, because our first show was in 2011 in March
mm-hmm.
at the now closed Fez, RIP Fez in Portland.
R.I.P. Fez. Yep.
Um, and I still feel like we were such like doe-eyed little babies and we still trying to figure out what direction am I going in? What does this all mean? And yeah, it seems apropos that then all these years later, meeting at the final
Yeah,
Skinny Puppy show in Portland and uh, it just kind of reminds me of just the, the pure chaos of life. And I guess to
yeah.
kind of answer your question, that's how I am. I feel like I'm just floating in chaos right now.
Well, I've been having a fucking hell of a time watching all the stuff you've been doing. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and it's so fucking good to see friends doing so well. So every time you guys have a tour, every time you guys collaborate with somebody just fucking insane, I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. So yeah, it's a fucking beautiful thing. Speaking of your most recent release, September, digi only track right now from Armalite, our friends at Armalite Studio or Industries on Bandcamp called Cinders, featuring James Reitz from
Uh,
Crossbreed.
yeah,
Um, Holy crap, brother. This is a fucking epic piece. It really fucking is. Can you walk us through writing and recording with James?
yeah, absolutely. So we met James. It's funny. So rewinding really far back, I remember seeing Crossbreed live. in Portland when they were on tour with Rammstein and Godhead. So
Hmm.
that was like 2000, 2001.
So yes, way back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so when we were on tour earlier this year with Combi Christ, one of the touring bands that we were with was Cultus Black, amazing guys, and they're friends with James. And so when we played Florida, since that's where James lives, he kind of came in and he did a few shows with Cultus. And so that's how we met him, and we became pretty fast friends.
Oh,
And he
that's
was
cool.
just really, really supportive, just like really excited to be kind of doing music again. And so then we kind of just kept talking, and I had so this song Cinders originally started as an instrumental that I was working on that me and my former bandmate Eric were working on um, for this Oddities Flea Market show that we would DJ every once in a while.
Okay.
And the song itself, I was just like, oh, this song. I really like the direction of it. I think I want to recut it up and make it into a more structured song rather than this kind of free-flowing instrumental.
Okay.
So after I recut it up, I'm like, yeah, this is what I want this song to be. And so working with James, it was perfect timing because we had this song that we had started working on before going on tour, but then meeting him and we clicked so well together that uh he jumped in and he did his vocal parts and he nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. And
Yeah.
what was awesome is that then Crossbreed was able to play Wasteland Weekend this year,
Yeah.
and that was perfect timing because then we were able to film the music video for Cinders. And since James was there for Crossbreed, we were able to actually have him in the music
Oh,
video. So
dude, that's fucking awesome.
it was that serendipitous moment
Yeah.
that happens every once in a while. So it was great, and he absolutely crushed it. So I'm happy that we were able to kind of seal everything with the music video.
Yeah. Yeah. My roommates are in Brazil right now, so I've got the house to myself, and it's been loud the last couple of days with
Oh, cool. Yeah, got to make it loud.
DAAP, and yeah, that Cinders yesterday. I was stomping around the house with that playing at full volume, and I think I might have pissed off a couple of neighbors, but
Oh, good. Well,
they're, you're not doing it right if that doesn't happen.
yeah,
Uh,
we're here for pissing off neighbors.
but so you got some video filmed for the video, which is going to see a release at the turn of 2025, a premiere on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So we're gonna on New Year's Day, 1/1/2025,
Mhm.
we're gonna premiere the music video on our YouTube channel, and we're gonna do like a simulcast or like a simultaneous live stream on our Twitch channel, kind of like
Right
a
on.
watch party.
Right
Uh,
on.
so that way you can
I've shared
have
the links
YouTube
to it.
up,
Yeah.
and then we can hang out with us at the watch party. So
Oh, dude, that's
it'll be
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. Fucking A, man. So any fun stories from the wildlings at the wasteland?
Oh, there's like Wasteland is such an experience. We played there 5 times, and originally back in 2018 was the first year, and we didn't really know what to expect. We had only kind of been recently introduced to Wasteland Weekend, just the same year that we played it for the first time, and it is just such a mind-blowing experience. There's really no way to describe it. I tell everyone you got to go sometime.
I've got
It,
to make
it
it out there at some point. My
you
friend Jay,
gotta.
you know Jay and Tracy.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been trying to get me to go out there for a while, and at some point I think I'm gonna have to. But yeah, I know it looks like a hell of a lot of fun. It really does.
It is.
You
It's
know Brain too, yeah? Brain,
oh
Matt.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, from Seattle. Yeah.
yeah. All right, right
Yeah,
on.
there's a huge Pacific Northwest contingent there. Like some of the coolest, biggest camps
Yeah,
and tribes at Wasteland are from the Pacific Northwest.
yeah.
Um, but
You've got a
it's
mighty
just
footprint.
we do. It's kind
Yeah,
of nice. It's like It's like a home away from home. It's a home in the desert.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is like a nonstop party. So, I mean, you definitely have to like get ready for a marathon, not a sprint
Yeah.
out in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. So who's directing your video?
So we actually did it completely ourselves. We filmed most of it using our cell phones and a gimbal. So it was definitely very like DIY.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so
Okay.
we got permission from the founder Jared Butler. So I just wanted to make sure he was cool with us filming there, and so we
Excellent. Thank you, Jared.
yeah, yeah, no, he's such a sweetheart. I'm very appreciative of him.
Um,
And yeah, we just tried to film as much as we could. However, it was really difficult because this was the hottest recorded uh wasteland on record.
this was
So
September though, yeah?
yeah, it's the last weekend of
Yeah.
September. So
Yeah.
it's usually hot, but this was like on just gruelingly hot.
Wow.
Um, but you know what? Like literally every music video that we have filmed, we've always been uncomfortable. So it's like if we weren't uncomfortable, then I feel like we wouldn't be actually be filming a music video.
No, fair enough, man. That's fucking awesome. So, is this perhaps a preamble to a new album and dare I ask, a tour?
Dare you can ask anything you want.
Excellent.
Um, so yeah, this is definitely the first single to the next album that we're gonna release next year. So that's one thing that we've been doing relatively pretty consistently now, since we've been back from tour, is working on the new album. We will have at least one more single to come out before the whole album. Probably maybe two more singles. But I'm really excited about the next single because it is also has another collaboration on there that I'm extremely excited about. Um, so we're doing a rendition of the Hearse song, the Don't You Ever Laugh as a Hearse Goes By.
Okay.
So and doing guest drums on that song is Martin Atkins.
Holy shit. Right
So
on, dude. Oh my God, that's fucking awesome.
yeah, you know, it was really awesome that I got to meet him. I've seen Pigface, you know, a bunch of times live.
Yeah.
But this year when we were in Chicago on the comedy tour, our manager Tom set up the meeting at the Post-Punk Industrial Museum,
Yeah.
and Martin was, you know, there and so generous with his time, and he was just such a sweetheart, you know, and such a wealth of knowledge that it's just really amazing to be able to have him on a track.
Yeah.
So I'm
No, we're
really,
lucky to have people like him as our older statesmen. We really are. This is
yeah,
our,
no, he's a living legend. I
he
mean, he
really
really
is.
is.
Yeah.
Like, he's done so much and been so much and has such of like a wealth of knowledge just about the
Yeah.
industry. So
Yeah. And on top of that, he's just a genuinely fucking generous person. I mean,
he
honestly,
is. He's
he's got
so
a good
sweet.
fucking heart. Yeah. That's fucking incredible, man. Congratulations, dude. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be the next single. Uh, don't really have a release date for that yet, but it'll be early part of next year for sure.
Right on.
So we have all the pieces done. It's just a matter of getting it into the studio for the final mixing and mastering.
Yeah. Fucking right on, dude.
So in June 2020, you released an amazing track called Colors Under Attack to raise money for an organization called the Black Visions Collective. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so that was right in the thick of all of the Black Lives Matter protests that were going on. And in Portland, you know, where I live right outside of, that was just, you know, it was every night for months they would have these protests. And I was able to attend a few. And the first one I went to was, you know, we got, you know, tear gassed and pepper balled and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so just from all of that, I was is I was working on Colors Under Attack really before all the riots broke out, just because the song itself, you know, if you can turn a blind eye to all the social injustices and all the like, and how this entire civilization is, this country especially was completely crafted and designed to be oppressive
Mhm.
towards minorities and other genders, and you know, and it just keeps boiling over. I mean, not to go off topic, but like it's kind of like with Rise with Me, how that was about,
Mhm.
mass shootings and the media's representation of it, and how sadly it never ceases to be a relevant topic. And with Colors, you know, even though the writing of it was before all the protests,
Yeah.
the protests really kind of fueled a lot of the anger behind it. And it wasn't supposed to be a single at all. It was really supposed to just be a song on the album, but I really wanted to uh, have the song be kind of the standalone thing. I didn't want it to make any money off of it. That's why there's no artwork for it, because I just wanted to kind of just be what it is. It's like this kind of stark, angry response to, the systemic racism that
Yeah.
permeates every part of our society. And so I wanted to find an organization that was, reputable and that actually, went right back into the, parts of society that are persecuted. So,
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough for being a solid voice for that. That's
and shout out to Armalite, because since they were the ones that were responsible for releasing the album in general, so they
yeah,
had all the singles underneath it. It was nice of them to completely go along with it and support us. They weren't worried about like, oh, no, you got to make money off of this. Like, no.
yeah,
So it was nice that we got to
yeah.
get to
There's
work with a label that
good
has our
people there.
backs.
Yeah, there's good people there for
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
they're wonderful
Yeah,
people. And you can find out more information about this organization at blackvisionsmn.org.
we'll have a link in the comment section for the video.
Thank you.
So excellent, Joey.
So January 18th at Dante's Winterfest Night 2 and headlining spot. Please tell us more about this.
What's
Yeah,
the
so this is gonna be
yeah,
really fun. So this will be our first show of 2025. It's a 2-day kind of mini festival in Portland at Dante's, which I love playing Dante's. Um, it's one of the few, I call it a fixed point in time, because for all the changes that Portland has gone through over the years, all the gentrification and the shutdown and the madness of downtown Portland and what's turned into. Dante's has always kind of just been there, unchanged by anything around it. So it's always really fun to play there. And this is going to be a really fun showcase of a lot of Pacific Northwest metal bands. And Portland used to have a lot of those
yeah,
back in the day. I feel like a lot of it doesn't happen as much, where you have these kind of just big, cram in a bunch of bands and I don't know, just kind of lift each other up. So we're really fortunate that Saturday, the day two of it, we're co-headlining with this other band, Ligature Marks, who actually has Carl Winery, who has directed all of our other videos, minus the Cinders videos. But he did the Rise with Me video. He did Violent Breed. He did God's Gonna Cut You Down. So I love him. He's an amazing guy, amazing musician, amazing director, and cinematographer. So, yeah, that's gonna be a really fun show. And we're changing things up. We're actually bringing colors back into our set. We haven't done that in a while, and we're actually
okay,
bringing some other stuff back into our set list that we haven't played in a number of years.
right on, man. That's fucking fantastic. So let's take a step back a little bit.
All right, let's do it.
Dead Animal Assembly Plant is inspired by a fictional horror story set up in the 19th century about a once successful German butcher who has gone bankrupt by the curious name of Wilhelm Schroeder. Um, is the story published anywhere? perhaps a graphic novel with artwork by fellow butcher Buzz, Rebecca?
It's not. It's something that we have we have talked about. Not even toyed around with. We have talked about seriously for years. Was to have a comic book and to have her draw it since she does most of our artwork. She does all the comic book versions of us.
Yeah,
Um, and I would say it had been pretty difficult because we were kind of going through a lot of rotating members, and so we're trying to lock down a story with a solid cast. Investing time in building someone's story up and drawing them as a character just to have excuse me, not in the band anymore. So we were just it kept kicking the can down the road more and more.
yeah,
Um, but I will say that where we're at right now is I feel the most solid iteration of the band. So this next year we can actually go forward with
oh hell yeah,
having a graphic novel because
right
yeah,
on.
over the years the mythology has it started with the Sweetmeat Slaughterhouse
Mhm.
and the butcher um and then it's kind of evolved more just as the idea of Dead Animal Assembly Plant kind of unfolded over time. We kind
Yeah,
of like dug the origin story a little bit deeper. So
yeah.
it'll be fun. I think that's will come up
Okay.
soon.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, for for those of you out there, just a little heads up. This right here is Buzz's artwork. I
So
don't know how
good.
well you can see that because I can't see my screen when I'm doing this, but Rebecca is fiercely fucking talented. Just and I am the proud owner of this little piece that I got actually at the final Skinny Puppy, one of the final Skinny Puppy shows in Portland. And thank you, thank you very much, Rebecca. It has a place of honor in my Skinny Puppy collection. So, um, but what I'm seeing, and Phantom Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. Do you remember that? The Kiss comic book, the Kiss movie,
Oh, I can
that
honestly say I've
cheesy,
never seen
cheesy
that.
fucking thing. Oh my God, you have to see it. Oh, dude, next time we're together, we have to fucking see that. It's absolutely hysterical. It's
Okay, I'll have
hysterical.
to watch because like I'm not a Kiss fan,
But they
but
the thing they did with the comic book when they released it, which was a big thing back in the 70s, when I was a kid, was the thing was the ink. They drew blood from all the members of Kiss, and
oh,
and so there was their blood in the ink. So I'm just gonna put that out there. If you do the
that's
graphic
very
novel,
clever. I
get
like
some
yeah.
get some blood in the ink. Just but yeah. That's where my weird little mind goes. I
I'll
want
shed
I want
I'll
to see
shed
it.
some blood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. All right. So what's at this point in the timeline though, what's old Wilhelm doing?
Well, not much. He got fed to the machines and ground up and then distributed amongst the the townsfolk. So he's not doing much these days,
Okay, all
other than
right. So
being like a spooky entity that haunts the hallways of the dilapidated sweetmeat slaughterhouse. So yeah, he's I guess you could say he's still around,
right
but
on. That's fucking
in
awesome.
apparition form.
Yeah. All right. So when did the gore horror bug bite you?
Oh boy. So I mean, I I'm a kid of the 80s, so I grew up on the slasher flicks, all of the like Sleepaway Camp and then Friday the 13th and so I mean that was my introduction to everything horror related. And I was a drama nerd, so
Yeah.
for me, um acting and drama was before music. Um I was I still am actually incredibly quiet and to myself when I'm not on stage.
Yeah.
So acting was always a way for me to feel comfortable being myself by playing another character.
Mhm.
So, so before I had a band and everything in Portland, I had a few performance troops, uh, did like body suspension and stuff like that.
Cool.
So that helped me kind of conquer a lot of stage fright and being vulnerable by wearing costumes.
Yeah.
So when I started working on music, so that was always part like doing theater in high school, out of high school, and then of course like doing a lot of horror related stage shows. And I was also in a horror host like comedy show out of Portland that was called the Uncle Erie Shiver Show.
All right.
So as always, I guess just being campy and horror was always as a part of who I was. So then when I started doing music, Dead Animal was a side project of mine from a friend's band that I was in at the time.
Yeah.
And I knew like right away, I'm like, okay, well, it has to be theatrical because of bands, growing up with bands like Skinny Puppy,
Mm.
or like Rob Zombie or Alice Cooper or even like Screaming Jay Hawkins, like you
Oh yeah.
see the incorporation of theatrics and how that creates that extra layer a layer of immersiveness.
Hmm.
So to me, it's just like I always wanted to present that even at the very beginning of Dead Animal, even before we were a full band and it was still just me, as a solo project, is always having that horror element, always having that theatrical side. And I kind of, in everything that I do, whether I don't know, it's, if you're going to work with me, you're going to get probably some ridiculous outfit and mask.
That's awesome.
Do you have any favorite horror film directors that really resonate with you, Zach?
Oh boy. I love Clive Barker. I guess I'd be more of, he's a director, but there's like the
Yes.
Hellraiser movies are my favorite, like franchise. The Doug Bradley Hellraiser are my favorite franchise. But of course, like John Carpenter, Wes Craven, Sam Raimi,
Yeah.
was one of my favorite directors just because he had such a unique perspective on, he invented the evil cam.
Yeah.
So the first person perspective from
Yeah.
the evil entity side. I don't know,
Yeah.
just that over the top. Yeah, I mean, I guess like over the top director like direction is something I always gravitated to when I was younger.
Yeah. That was truly genius. The making the camera scary. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
It was
Like
like,
it's
what's chasing them? Nothing. It's just yeah, and it's fucking unnerving as hell. I love it. Yeah.
yeah, it's the idea that it's the things that you can't see sometimes
Yep.
are scarier.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, it was a brilliant fucking stroke of genius. What's your earliest memory of art having a profound effect on you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hmm. I mean, I guess I guess the first movie that I had ever seen in the theater was Ghostbusters. And I guess as far as like art having a lasting impact on me was the library ghost scene would always make me cry. Like
It
I
was,
remember it was like it was terrifying when they would
yeah.
do that like 1, 2, 3, get her, and she went, "Argh!" Like I remember I would just start bawling. Even though I knew it was coming, I would
Yeah.
start bawling. Or like so Amityville Horror, the original Amityville Horror, um that movie properly, I would say as far as like having art having an impact on me, impact on your psyche, that
Yeah.
movie did kind of it fucked me up properly because there's a scene where the mother catches a little girl talking to nobody, and the mom looks out the window and she sees two eyes staring back at her, and
Yeah.
that like two glowing eyes and turn away. And I where I lived in West Chicago at the time, um, it was an old house, a lot of windows that just peered out into darkness, and I could not stare out of a dark window my whole childhood because I was just
Oh wow.
anticipating seeing eyes. To this day, it's still like, when I look out into a dark space, like a void, I'm just like, ugh.
Uh,
So I think it's that kind of like how it just that kind of like how why I guess why I'm still such a horror nerd is
yeah.
because the impact that stuff can have on how you perceive the world,
Mhm.
and I kind of want that to translate into the stage show. I wanted something that impacts people, that at least it's something that people can walk away from and be able to take away something from it and not just be disconnected.
Yeah. Excellent. Your shows, as well as being sonically motivating, are visually arresting. What goes into concept and art direction for a typical DAP show?
Well, thank you for one. Um, I think a lot of it is just our collective constant desire to always be changing things and not getting too comfortable in either a certain look or a certain idea. And, you know, it has changed a lot over the years. I mean, like even when I'm sitting right now is this wheelchair, and
Yeah.
this wheelchair I used to use on stage in old DAP shows. Um, so it was a lot of like experimenting with like, does this really work? How does this really work?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm ha happy now, I would say being older, with the direction that our stage shows have gone in. Because sometimes and I think about some of the past, props or past like stage shows that I tried to do. I'm just like, oh no, that's pretty cringy. So if it passes like the cringe test, the smell test now, then all things can be considered for stage.
Right on. Yeah, I know my friend Bill Ball used to do performance art, and he would typically do stuff either opening for Black Atmosphere in Seattle or on stage while they were on stage. And I got the distinct honor on a couple of occasions of strapping him into his straitjacket. 'Cause he was an escape artist.
Nice.
So he'd paint his body like white grease paint, and then he wanted something really visceral to go along with it, and he figured grape jelly. So
Delicious.
had him slathered in grape jelly. It looked so fucking cool. It really was. It was a visceral effect for sure. But yeah, every once in a while you gotta really push the envelope. And you guys,
Sometimes you gotta cover yourself in grape jelly and
you
just be
know,
like,
and it
here
was
I
like,
am.
you can't catch me. I'm too slippy.
That's right. Just make sure you bring a lot of toast.
That's right. You could toast and yeah, grape jelly and white grease paint. Yeah.
Hmm.
So what can newcomers expect when seeing a show?
I feel like bands that I don't consider us like a masked band because we don't wear masks the whole time, and for us the masks represent maybe a certain song, blah blah. But any theatrical band, I think in general gets a pretty bad rap. I think people approach like overtly theatrical bands with a certain level of cynicism, maybe fairly. It depends. Um,
Depends on the band for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and because I think people can be turned off by what they consider to be like a novelty or a shtick.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, it's just like, hey, just come in to have fun. That's all we want people to do is to have fun. That's the whole point of our stage shows. It's like we take what we do very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously.
Right.
So, just come in with an open mind, just have fun. Just it's not serious. It's not serious. Life is too serious to be serious. So,
Correct. Correct.
you, even though some of our songs obviously have really serious like undertones, like Colors
Yeah.
and Rise, we try not to make it be like so heavy-handed that it's also like ostracizing because I think you have that toe of the line where you can be political and you can have a message, but you can still be fun with it and
Yeah.
not like isolate yourself from people.
Yeah.
Like homeboy from Wasp who decided to just flash Trump banners at a show in
Oh,
Texas. So it's like I'm like, dude, why don't you just stick to wearing like buzzsaw like jock straps? What are you doing? Making this a weird political rally. So
oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little much.
That is a little bit. Now Trump in a chainsaw thing, would
Yeah,
be,
yeah, like if he was being fed into a wood chipper,
oh, well, there you go.
you know, fantastic. But unfortunately, that was not the case.
I see a big roly-poly Trump wearing a buzzsaw jockstrap.
Oh boy.
Oh no, 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 my eyes. I think I just broke my brain.
So you did a collaboration of Johnny Cash's "God's Going to Cut You Down" with Adoration Destroyed. Eric and I go way back. I used to be
Oh, yeah.
the lighting director for his band Terminal 46 when I was a teenager in the 90s.
Nice.
How did this collaboration come about?
Oh man. I love Eric. So we actually, let's see. I'm trying to think how our friendship happened because it's one of those things where I think we knew who each other were like online, and then it's when he was in 16 volt. So when Eric was in 16 volt, um, I believe is when we first met, and he's such a sweetheart. And love Adoration Destroyed. I love all, he would always come through with either his band or if he was like in Grendel at the time. So it was one of those people that I would see in Portland a lot because he'd always be on tour in some project. Um,
I miss
and
Grendel,
yeah, oh God, seriously.
right?
Um, and I again, it was one of those things where we were working on the song and really wanted to collaborate with him. So it was perfect. So he recorded his vocals on his side and sent them to us. And he happened to be in town. So Portland used to have this really cool little festival called the Pig Fest, which is the Portland Industrial Goth Fest. And so he was in town for that because he was playing with 16 volt, trying to put everything together. And so we were able to film him really fast for the music video. So it was nice working with him.
Right on, man.
You've toured with some heavyweights, Power Man 5000, Orgy, Combi Christ. Who's had the biggest impact on you and why?
Well, let's see. It's a good question because I mean, like we've we played with Power Man a number of times in Portland, pretty much just in Portland, but a bunch of times. Um, and Power Man was tonight the Stars Revolt. That was such a good
Yeah.
album, and uh, and Spider he's a genuinely nice guy. Like he's actually a really sweet guy. So it's nice. I would say I've been very pleasantly surprised that most of the people that we played with um, actually ended up being really sweet. So, but I would say touring with Combi Christ this year, it was definitely the biggest learning experience for
Yeah.
us. So, as far as something is the biggest impact is definitely touring with them, and that was the biggest tour that we had been on, the longest tour that we had been on. It was a lot of firsts for us, first time ever playing Canada, and it was a a daily learning lesson. It was a really difficult grind, and it kind of really tested who we could be as a band and how we can maneuver some really complicated, inner politics and stuff like that. So, and again, like they were the sweetest guys too. And now I'm still friends. What's nice is that actually from that tour, we weren't just a bunch of bands that just happened to be touring together. We we like all interconnected really well, and we're all still friends, and we're all still talk. In fact, we still even have it's a little band chat that we created on one of those little chat apps. I think it was WhatsApp, and we made it just for tour, but we're all still in it, and we also talk to each other. So it's been really,
Fucking awesome.
yeah, it's been really sweet. And again, it's one of those things where then from that, other collaborations come from, and other, so I would say that the tour that this year with Comic Cries was definitely the biggest impact on us.
Nice. Is there someone out there you'd really like to work with, and why?
Oh, there's just so many. Oh my God. There's so many people. I mean, like, I could think of like pie in the sky people, like, oh, sure, I'd love to work with like Trent Reznor, or I'd love to work with someone like Tom Waits, or, you
Mhm.
know, um,
Oh my God, a fucking Tom Waits and
yeah.
I
But I mean,
fucking
like I said, that's
dude,
never
that
gonna
would be
happen.
so fucking awesome. Oh my God, that would be so fucking awesome.
But,
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I would say like some people that I would love to work with, that I at least know on some kind of personal level. I would love to collaborate with Jason Charles Miller, who used to be in Godhead, but now he has his own project now. And we've played together a number of times, and he's such a sweetheart. He's such an amazing musician that it's one of those people. I'm just like, I just gotta find the right song and hit him up and be like, "Hey, can you do this?"
Yeah.
So. I'm really hoping on this next album to have more collaborations on there. And there's a few people that I want to, when the time is right, when the song is right for the next album, hit them up and be like, "Hey, do you want to collaborate?" Because I just think it's really fun to you get these other personalities that can help change the dynamic of a song.
Fucking right on, man. So, Augment, a
Ah,
blend
yes.
of synthwave, EDM, EBM, trap, and industrial elements. Hailing from the city Hexatropolis 2.0, we spread the warning of our dystopian totalitarian megacity. Please tell us about this project.
So Augment came about when it was during a time when Dead Animal wasn't really doing too much. Intentionally, I got really burned out, and I needed to kind of take a step away from that. And so my good friend and sound engineer Fernando, he had mixed Bring Out the Dead. He mixed mastered this soundscape that we did. And he and I, for Bring Out the Dead, we did another variant of God's Gonna Cut You Down. So he and I like, whipped that version out together really fast. And so like, oh, we
Yeah.
work together really well. Well, maybe we should work on music more together. And so that's kind of how Augment happened. We were like, hey, we were really influenced by synthwave and cyberpunk and trap music, and yeah, he coming from like Miami, big in the EBM EDM scene
Yeah.
there, and it was a nice, again, has to be theatric, always has to be theatric.
Yeah.
Um, but it was fun to step away from the chaos of Dead Animal and do something that was a little bit more stripped down, a little bit more, uh, or make it more like exposing in a lot of ways. Um, because we worked with minimal layers, minimal vocal layers, pushing the vocals way out in front and not doing a ton of layering with music, just kind of letting songs breathe, and learning how to self-edit was something that was kind of like it was like a harsh reality to go through. It was just like, oh yeah, I need to learn how to self-edit because it becomes a cacophony at a certain point.
Yeah.
Um, so we want to augment, so it's spelled AVGMNT. We wanted
Mhm.
something that had a nice balance to it. So that's why we did like 6 characters. And we didn't want it to be something that was straightforward because, like, augment, you type in augment, how many augments are going to come up?
Right.
So we wanted to make sure that we had something that also graphically looked interesting. Um, so and that's been really fun. We released an album, um, and a few singles. We're almost done with an EP. It'll be a three-song EP that's actually themed after Brave New World, the book.
Yeah.
Um, and we have a few shows, really fun shows coming up next year. We're opening for Cyclone 9 in Portland. And then talking about Wasteland Weekend, so that's the post-apocalyptic side. On
Yeah.
the other side, you have Neotropolis. So it's the
Yeah.
same founder, except this is the cyberpunk
Yeah.
dystopian future version, not the post-apocalyptic one. So
Right.
we're playing Neotropolis next year, which is the last weekend in April. So that's going to be real fun.
Fucking right on, man. Yeah, I kind of get the personally, I get the feel that these projects are coming from like Lovecraftian for DAP and more Vognet for Augment, Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah, I kind of
It's
get that feeling. Literally, the connections that I make with your music are sort of along that line. You know, you've got your darker horror, and then you've got your more social commentary kind of stuff, and it's fucking awesome, dude. I love what you're
thank,
doing, man.
thank you. It's not it's I feel very blessed to be able to have these different outlets for yeah, all the different parts of my personality, or else I don't know. I might be a serial killer.
That's fair. Absolutely.
But no, not
So,
really. I deny everything.
it just wasn't me. It wasn't me. I was just a character I played on TV.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So you have some plans for a new EP and album in the works for Augment. Got the shows coming up with Cyclone 9. It looks like February, yeah. And Neotropolis in April. So and a new album coming out in 2025 for Doubt. That's yeah.
Music, gotta keep
That's
going.
yep, absolutely. So I'm glad to hear there's plans for releases and stuff and shows with Augment too.
Yeah,
I'm
and
same boat.
hopefully with Dead Animal, a tour will follow
I'm hoping
the
so. Yeah.
album. I mean, it's touring is not cheap. It's really
Oh,
expensive.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
uh we'll see how well that goes.
yeah.
Fingers
No,
crossed.
yeah. Now you also have a show on Twitch. When and what may people expect from that?
Yeah, so I mean, I stream on Twitch. I stream every Wednesday for sure, and then periodically, throughout the week. It's kind of a combination of just chatting, hanging out, whether, people send me videos to watch and we'll, it's a nice small community of viewers and I play a lot of horror games, a lot of indie horror games. That's another big part of it. And also like do occasionally I do art nights where it's be like hanging out and painting and stuff like that. So just yeah, it's a fun community I'm trying to build
It's
on there.
fucking awesome. I need to spend some time and get over and do that. I've been meaning to and just been I'm fucking terrible. I'm just a terrible person.
We're all terrible people. That's all right.
What's
So
your favorite horror game?
yeah.
It's let's see. Hmm. Like I was playing a lot of Dead by Daylight, but I haven't picked that up in a while. I've been really enjoying a lot of like independent, like episodic horror games. There's this one recently I played called Mouthwashing, which was really creepy.
Ooh.
This one that I played just the other day was called The Cabin Factory, and that one was um, I don't. There's this. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game series called Observation Duty. It's kind of like you're looking for anomalies in any given scene. Um, I don't know. There's so many good spooky games out there. Like it's like the golden age of independent video games.
Yeah.
And there's just so many good ones out there. Oh my God.
Are you familiar with Sam Sharon?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been on too. So yeah. I I was thinking, you've got so much talent in your house for that graphic novel, but if you need any help, I'm sure Sam would be a great
Oh
go-to.
man, Sam's amazing. It's cool because actually earlier this year when I was in LA um DJing this thing called the Oddities Flea Market,
Yeah,
I happened to be in town when going back to Jason Charles Miller, he was doing an album release show, and Sam had done a lot of Jason Charles Miller's artwork for his albums. So
mm,
Sam was there, and so I actually got to meet him for the first time in person because we've been friends online for a while. So I
yeah,
actually got to earlier this year got to meet him for the first time
that's
in person.
awesome.
And it was great. It was super rad. It was a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
chance
No,
to
I'm
encounter.
looking forward to him getting to Seattle at some point because I want to go, run around in the woods with him.
Yeah,
Pictures.
he's very sweet.
Yeah, awesome. So,
Are there
do you have,
any bands currently on your radar that people should know about?
I almost feel like I should pull up my phone. Like, let's see. Actually, well, I'm gonna literally do that. What have I been listening to a lot lately? It's funny because like the stuff I've been listening to a lot lately is it's actually more popular like mainstream stuff. So probably stuff that people probably already know about. Like I've been listening to a lot of Poppy or Bad Omens.
Mhm.
Uh, and, like because I have found really interesting in the past few years is that these pretty popular mainstream bands uh have really brought in like this old school industrial sound into
yeah,
the music like Poppy's music is super industrial and like Bad Omens some of their songs sound like they're written by like Nine Inch Nails in the 90s.
yeah,
So and it's interesting that then it's influencing all this younger generation and they're listening to these popular bands playing these song patterns that are classic industrial song patterns.
yeah, yeah,
And so I'm actually like kind of hopeful. It's kind of cool that they've almost and I know that maybe people will, if they want to poo-poo the idea of industrial being mainstream, but I love the idea that they have kind of popularized things that the more underground subcultures have
that's funny.
been listening to for decades.
Yeah,
So it's actually kind of fun. I think it's anything is kind of validating. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
dude, this kind of music is fucking rad, and it's great that people are discovering bands like Skinny Puppy by
yeah.
way of Bad Omens because they worked with Health, who worked with Trent,
Mhm.
who worked with blah, who worked with blah, so it is like what I find great is that, with the popularization of this style, I think it's gonna, open a lot of people's minds to this music that's been around for a while. So
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been
So
listening to a lot of that lately.
I would find it funny anybody poo-pooing the idea that industrial is getting mainstream because it's been mainstream since Nine Inch Nails entered the building. So, you know,
It
it's
has. I mean, it
you
totally has.
know,
But then he's become
yeah,
almost kind of like Trent has become like almost like this more like this esoteric kind
yeah.
of.
He's kind of
uh
going a little bit more into the shadows. It's kind of nice.
it's all the
I
soundtrack
feel
work and
his creative side is definitely he's sheltered and I don't know. I don't think it was his fault, and I don't think it was anything he did. But Nine Inch Nails did really bring everything into the forefront, and it was funny because people were like, you listen to all that alternative music. I'm like, this stuff that you're talking about is not alternative. I mean, there's alternative music that I listen to for sure, but it's stuff that nobody's heard of, and and it's I don't really consider Nine Inch Nails to be alternative necessarily anymore. I think they're definitely a huge industrial footprint.
now it's dad rock.
Yeah, but now, yeah, it is a little bit, yeah.
Now
But
it's dad
it
rock.
was, but everybody knows them. You can hear them at a fucking frat party. It's which is it kind of was disturbing for me, but there
Always
is
hated the old Skinny Puppy fans versus Nine Inch Nails fan thing. I was like,
yeah,
that's just not a.
yeah,
And I like both.
that's a little bit cringe,
Toxic
and
fandom.
I don't like gatekeepery stuff either, but certainly there's stuff that nobody's heard of, and then there's there's stuff that's mainstream. It's like, you know, anyway, that was my little spiel. So any words of wisdom for the younger set looking to make it in rebellious art?
Ooh, wisdom. No, there's not much uh wise anything I can espouse. Um, but the thing is, like, you know, when people ever kind of talk to me about like, oh, any advice for in music, um, and to me, it's always like you have to keep asking yourself why you're doing things. Why are you doing the art that you're doing?
Yeah,
Are you trying to be provocative? Are you trying to have a message? Like, what's your legacy that you're trying to leave with your art?
yeah,
And, you know, is it your passion? Is you want to make money? Do you want attention? I mean, it can be a combination of all the things, but, you know, the whole, to me, the biggest thing is you always have to constantly be asking yourself, why are you doing this?
yeah,
Why are you doing this? And if you get to a point when you're just like, I don't know why I'm doing this anymore, then that's when maybe you need to quit or take a step back.
yeah,
Um, because the burnout is real, you know, to me, unless you're just like enormously wealthy or enormously lucky or enormously nepotistic, it's a trudge, you know, it's a
yeah,
grind, and I think that's part of the fun, though. Like, I
yeah,
think, you know, if you don't grind and you don't, you know, kind of go through, you know, get drugged through glass and scraped across the coals and all that,
yeah,
uh, then I think you're missing out on a lot of opportunities for personal growth
yeah.
as an artist, as a person. Because I think if you try to fast track something, then you miss out on the ride. So
All
just
right.
have fun,
So,
man. Life is too
yeah,
short. And life
fucking
is
A.
fucking pure fucking chaos. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So just have
All
at
right. Let's get a little bit of a close up on your hat there.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Zach makes hats.
Yeah, here,
He makes some fucking badass hats.
I'll turn on a brighter light. I'll try
So
to.
we had
Oh, there we go.
at the Portland Skinny Puppy show. Ogre traded hats with you because he really liked the hat you made, and
Yeah, that was that was really fun. So yeah, during the
yeah,
VIP meet and greet,
yeah,
that was the first time I had worn that hat out. I just literally finished it
yeah,
like maybe a few nights before. I'm like, I'm gonna wear it out to the Skinny Puppy show.
yep,
And then he made uh, a passing comment about me giving him my ogre made a passing comment about me giving him my hat, and I'm like, I'll trade you. He was wearing this like a simple hat with a
yeah,
little like enamel pin on it,
yeah,
and but it was his hat, and it was at
yeah,
the last show in Portland for Skinny Puppy.
yep,
So yeah, so we traded hats, and since I'm friends with Matthew, I got him to run it back to get signed by Ogre, and it was
wow,
cool when you know when he came out for the encore and he was wearing my hat.
yeah.
I'm
That was
like,
fucking badass. That
he's
was
wearing
really
my hat.
badass.
I
Yeah,
don't think he probably doesn't wear it anymore, but for that one time he was wearing my hat.
that was fucking awesome, dude. That was
That was
absolutely fucking awesome, man.
that's super fun.
Man, that was a great night. That
He
was a
better
great
still have that hat.
Yeah.
He
So,
better still have it.
so you're making hats and you may be doing a little bit of a side hustle on that as well at some point.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, I have a lot of time on my hands these days, so I I I make a lot of my stage pieces.
Hmm.
So I'm good at like doing downcycling, distressing, that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So I'm working on making a bunch of like, yeah. So kind of like custom.
Yeah. Oh, you lost your mic.
Oh, there we go. I muted myself on accident. I'm also making ties.
Yeah, that's fucking badass, man.
So. Yeah, and I used to make bandanas a lot too.
Oh.
Um, there we go, much better. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna start trying to make more art, sort of paint more, just as yeah, a little side hustle.
Right on. Okay. Well, when it's available, definitely let us know. We'll promote the shit out of it.
Thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna try to like do a little boot up this idea that I've had for a while to have a little clothing line. So maybe this next year I'll try to like get that going.
That'll be fucking awesome. Yeah. If you need any help with that, I like doing that shit too.
Well, thank you.
Um,
I'll put as much help as I can get.
Excellent. So, is there anything else you would like to promote today?
Um, I pretty much covered all of it. We have, yeah, the Cinders videos dropping on New Year's Day. We do have a co-headlining show in Portland, January 18th. We are playing Boise for the first time in 6 years, so that's gonna be super fun. February 15th, we're playing the Requiem Vampire Ball in Boise, so
Right
that's
on.
gonna be really cool. Uh, Homeboy from Jason from oh my God. It's funny God Module.
Yeah. Okay.
He'll be DJing there, so that'll be really yeah, but fun. We haven't played Boise since 2018, so we're excited to play there. That's at the Shredder. Um yeah, just we have a bunch of new music coming out for both Dead Animal and for Augment, and just kind of keep your grapes peeled. And
Yeah.
good and buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride the next several years, but we just got to fucking stick together.
Yep.
We got to
We'll
stick
make
together
it.
in solidarity.
We'll make it through. Like
Yes.
we'll come out of it looking like a rat king. You know, a bunch of us stuck together by our asses. But but dude, it is
Basically.
always a fun time talking with you. I cannot wait to hang out again. 2025
Yes.
is looking to be a great fucking year for you, and
I hope so.
I'm
Hopefully,
so
it's going to
fucking proud of you,
be
man.
a
I am
good year for everyone.
I am seriously, I'm so fucking proud of you guys. It
Thank
is
you.
amazing. Kiddos, get your asses over to Bandcamp and check out the new track Cinders. Set your clocks for the YouTube premiere as well. If you see them on the docket in your area, get your fucking ass out there and see them. You do not want to miss that. Alrighty, gang. This brings us to the end of another episode, dedicated as always to our dear friend Jason Lupo. Please remember to look out for each other. It's hard season for a lot of people. Don't be afraid to reach out, to ask for help and to offer help. Don't forget to check in on the ones who seem the strongest. Don't forget they sometimes forget to ask for help and may really seriously need it. Sometimes, sometimes, yeah. Everyone can use a little grace.
Don't suffer in silence.
Don't suffer in silence.
Reach
It's
out.
okay to not be okay. We love you. Happy holidays. Love hugs and belly rubs. Cheers.